Napoleon Bonaparte, he said, "The world suffers a lot, not because of violence or bad people, but because of the silence of the good people." Understand. He also says, Prophet Muhammad was a prince. He rallied his patriots around him. In a few years, the Muslims conquered half of the world. They plucked more souls from false gods, knocked down more idols, raised more pagan temples in 15 years than the followers of Moses and Jesus in 15 centuries. Muhammad was a great man. He would indeed have been a god if the revolution that he had performed had not been prepared by the circumstances. Napoleon also said, if the principles of Islam were to be widely adopted, the world would be a better place. Now, to make it clear, I have no desire to call you to Islam, to be Muslim. That's your fucking business. The point I'm going to attempt to make over time is that there is a reason that could be counterintuitive to the reasons that you have accepted in yourself of why there is a bounty by Netanyahu on Muslims' head in this nation. He put up good money, sweet money. Understand? Strategically, to raise Christian propaganda against Muslims and Islam, to make sure that you're afraid of Muslims, to make sure that you're scared shitless of Islam. And they're doing a pretty good job. They're doing a pretty good job. My role is just to make you think. If I can make you think, it's a victory. That's it. Can I make you think? What is it about Islam that's the threat? What is it about Muslims that makes them the fucking boogeyman? Huh? Come on, what is it? Does your Big Daddy government have a spiritual interest in you? They're concerned about your salvation? Oh, you really think that, huh? They're concerned about whether or not you turn your life over to Christ or you don't go down the wrong pathway with those Muslims. Are they concerned that you can't go safely and freely out in public to the shopping mall or events because some foaming at the mouth crazy Muslim is going to commit some act of terror? Is that what you're convinced of? You believe that? Oh, okay. You probably still believe that some Muslims drove those planes into the Twin Towers too, huh? Yeah, okay. I got you, buddy. There's a slow bus for you. Yeah, there's a slow bus for you. They know. They know you because they manufactured you. They engineered you. And they know that there's a high probability that you would select a feeble-minded status in yourself and refuse to fucking think. They're betting on it. That you're not going to be responsive, but you're going to be reactionary. And that is where they get you. All in your feelings, and ain't no blood rushing to your fucking brain. No oxygen. Fucking think. They're betting on you to have a feeble-minded status, incapable of thinking for yourself. That bliss of ignorance is a sweet spot. It's like that chair that nobody want to get out of because they don't want nobody else to get in it. They sit in that chair for fucking ever because they don't want somebody else to come along and sit in that seat. Your ass is glued to that seat of fucking ignorance because it's blissful not to know what the fuck is going on. Yeah. Whistling fucking Dixie. Got you right where they want you at. Not fucking thinking. So who Netanyahu says you shouldn't like is who you shouldn't like? What he says you shouldn't believe in is what you shouldn't believe? Are you really gonna go there? I want you to think about this. Huh? Think about it. What are you doing? Are you okay? Are you okay? The most important asset and practice that Khazarians have since the beginning of this corporate state, United States, is banking. It's banking. They are the originators of banking practices. Slavery perfected it. They owned every one of them slave ships. Yeah, Khazarians, Netanyahu's lineage, Rothschild Rockefellers, yeah. You know they ain't the real you know what's. But banking is what they have mastered. In their way. Interest or usury, manipulative banking practices, predatory banking practices, the bull behind corporate muscle. Okay, that's the bull. You go downtown in many of our major cities, they have a statue of a bull. Taurus, second house, finance. Come on. Come on, people, wake up. Sit up straight. Drink your coffee. Smoke your blunt. Whatever you got to do. Come on. Listen. Listen. The Khazarians and white Christian nationals, the students of Khazarians, the mentees of Khazarians, they are patriarchal. Understand, they are patriarchal. Islam, specifically Sharia, it is matriarchal. Right there is the issue. Patriarchal practices are corporate in nature. It has policies, not laws. Policies. Matriarchal it is humanitarian in nature. Okay? Let's fucking get this straight right now. Matriarchy is not a woman sitting on a fucking throne, eating grapes, talking shit, and telling everybody what to do. Please stop with the Disneyland thinking. Get out of the feeble mind selection and step into your God consciousness, for God's sake. You don't have a lot of time. I'm trying, people. I'm giving it all I got. And I can't do it by myself. I gotta get you to think. Fucking think. When a people is ruling through patriarchy, its interest is gain, power, control, economics, and spirit of greed, dictatorship, domination, rigidity, cruelty even. It is the devil card in shadow. Capricorn in crisis. It is Saturn. Lack of illumination and lack of love. Shadow 8. Vibration. Stay with me. Patriarchy is of Khazarian nature and white Christian nationalist nature. An infrastructure of societal leadership. Matriarchy. It is about the people. the security of the people, the welfare of the people. Fulfillment of the people, honoring and respecting and preserving, defending the dignity of the people, investing in the pride and stability of the people, the humanity of the people, the sensitivities of the people, the vulnerabilities of the people, especially women and children. Advocacy. All of the Cancer attributes is matriarchal law. Patriarchal law is the Capricorn attributes. When law reflects a will to preserve Cancer principles and intentions, it is matriarchal. Okay? So let's get this right for the fucking record. Let's get it right. I'm sorry, feminists turned the picture upside down and told you the wrong fucking thing. Let's get it right today. To fucking day. Let's get it right today, right the fuck now. Matriarchy. If the laws are not towards security, advocacy, and dignity of the people, it is not matriarchy. Understand? Patriarchy, it denies matriarchal interests in order to gain patriarchal capital. Understand? Okay? It is to go to the extreme of Capricorn, which depletes the body of Cancer, body being the society or city. Okay? Follow me. Sharia law is matriarchal. So likewise, the Constitution is also, that is, the United States Constitution is also matriarchal. It is not patriarchal. It is matriarchal. Let's get that understood right the fuck now. Both are matriarchal. Why? Because the Constitution and Sharia law, it succeeds the same aim. Humanity of the people. To preserve and protect the humanity of the people. The inalienable rights of the true and natural person. The national. And even citizens, which that is a very particular subject to interpret, but let's just stay in the basics of this topic. This nation, called the United States now, it is a republic. The last time that it was expressed or managed as a republic, the Republic of the United States, or the United States Republic of America, the last president of that status of this territory was President Lincoln. After Lincoln, we've had de facto status operatives who are monarchs and oligarchs under the secret treaty of Verona, which manifested as an outcome or a solution for what Napoleon Bonaparte caused them to realize about the power of the people should they become aware of their matriarchal identity, rights, status, and means to empower themselves. They had to put a stop to that. And as you already know or should know, Napoleon Bonaparte was a devout student of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In imitation of Prophet Muhammad and what he learned about Prophet Muhammad, he was able to transfer that wisdom and to leverage, influence, leadership, and empowerment of the people. And he used that power on behalf of the people, and it scared the fucking living daylights out of the monarchs and oligarchs of his time, of Europe. Since that time, Islam became infamous in a modern context. Understand? Christianity became favorable in a modern context in order to subjugate the people to docility and passivity. Understand? This even transferred to Christian black codes over slaves. While many slaves arrived as Muslims and many indigenous were already Muslim, that was a problem, especially for those who were already here as Moors. Christian black codes made sure that this was no longer a problem, forcing Christianity on to others. This conversion was important because Sharia law, Islam, Prophet Muhammad, all of these are means by which people, the people, quote unquote, can gain awareness of their status as it relates to them and their government and what it looks like to have or enjoy inalienable rights, what it looks like to have dignity in a society or treat it with dignity in a society, and what there is to fight for as a true and natural person. It clarifies all these things. It lets you know, it puts you on notice what your matriarchal rights and interests are according to those teachings. And it also teaches you how to fight for it. It empowers the people with understanding of civics, law, human rights, and how to reason contracts, agreements, property, power, as I mentioned, civics already, domestic, social, and political arguments. It clarifies all of it. That is what's so dangerous about it. Now, I said this in simple way, right? Let me say that again. I said this in simple way, did I not? Okay. But it's not so simple. And why it's not so simple is If you were to investigate, study, and understand, you would stumble into a world of clarity as to how it's supposed to be run, of what rights you are supposed to be entitled to, of what your real status is supposed to be. You also will see that there is the power to prevent many of the social, domestic, and political illnesses, oppression, injustice, unfairness, abuse, mistreatment. You will see that it all was preventative, but yet it was deliberately manufactured to take the negative effect that it takes on you as a citizen. That is what it will cause you to realize. Matriarchy exposes patriarchal intent because matriarchal is source from whence such reasoning comes from. Okay? The mother exposes the father. Understand? Matriarchy exposes. The same thing happens when you study the Constitution, the Articles of Confederation, the Bill of Rights. Should you study these things, you will arrive at the same conclusions as you would Sharia law, because both of them are consistent with each other for the most part. The essence of both expressions of law are consistent and agreeable. To study Sharia law, you are reminded of your own constitution in the essence of that wisdom and power of matriarchal identity. That is the problem. It will cause you to remember that you are not in a democracy, you're in a republic. And the republic is here in favor of the people because the republic is a matriarchal expression, not patriarchal. Democracy is the one that is patriarchal, de facto status. And the reason being is because instead of you thinking for yourself, I'm going to use the power of media and deliberate subjugation to ignorance with an infrastructure of society, the division of the family unit, distractions through media, moral depravity, practices of ill repute dressed as freedom and justice and liberation. I'm going to feed you all of that. I'm going to enable all of that and call it empowerment. I'm going to make you drunk with your own freedom. Okay? It's like me, okay? It's like you are out of love, matriarchal, okay? Out of love. You give your children structure. You tell them when to take a bath. You tell them to eat, they have to eat their vegetables. Yes, you can eat ice cream, but it has to be after you eat your food, after you eat your dinner. Okay? Out of love, you subject your children to your leadership. Out of love. Can you say it's out of love if you just let them wild out and do what they want to do? Whatever the desire of the heart is, you enable it and you allow them to be the leader, right? Okay? Where they say, hey, I just want to eat ice cream and Reese's cups and soda and all this other stuff. I don't want no real dinner. Okay, I love you so much. I'm just going to give you whatever you want because mommy loves you. Is that love? You tell me. Is that love? Okay? And then when the mother, y'all remember that show Nanny, okay? The nanny comes in and watches the situation. And the nanny pulls the mother aside and say, hey, you're abusing your child. You're sitting there watching your child and preparing these unhealthy things for them, calling it like that's not love. You're abusing that child. You can't do this. I gotta stop you. This is not okay. You're enabling the worst out of them. And that's what this de facto operatives have done to females of American society through feminism, is they have enabled their own detriment and called it freedom and liberation. You gave females this free reign of expression without educating them, without teaching them, without guiding them. Because you took the family unit away from them. You took fathers away from them. You took husbands away from them, and you deliberately engineered that outcome, exposing them to their own ignorance as their leadership. So in their ignorance, they call their own self-destruction and demise freedom and liberation. It's no different than a mother who calls herself loving the children, but her behaviors and actions and the ways that she governs her children is destructive to the child. So she has to be properly educated so that she understands how to properly love the child. Because love doesn't destroy. It doesn't corrupt. Patriarchy has a capitalistic and corporate interest to subject females to the spell of lost value systems, of vile culture and behaviors and practices, immorality, stripping them of dignity, self-respect, honor, and the sacred title that every woman should be able to walk the earth and enjoy. That's not protecting women. That's enabling their own demise by their own hand, because you refuse to enlighten or properly educate women. And sending them to college is not educating women. It is training women. To educate women, you make them aware of who they are as women. You empower them to preserve who they are and honor and respect who they are, their self as women. That is empowerment. And matriarchal law points back to that in Islam Sharia law. It is not specified in Constitution, however, necessarily. But that is very specified throughout Sharia law. So if Sharia law is there concerning women, you no longer can make money off of women's ignorance. You can no longer make money off of their dysfunction. You can no longer make money off of their self-destructive trends and culture. If Sharia law is there to protect the people from usury by forbidding the people to practice usury out of love, or even if we don't say out of love, okay, out of matriarchal interests, I will not enable the people of my society to drown themselves in extremes of debt and poverty and servitude through usury and interest loans, foul banking practices, and criminal manipulative banking practices and policies. This is why Sharia law is a threat, because it remains consistent with what the original, the Constitution of America, in essence, was about. So Sharia law and Constitution is the same essence, different expression. And that is the problem, that you might remember that the Constitution was for you, the true and natural living person with inalienable rights, not the 14th Amendment straw man, fictitious incorporated character who is subject to patriarchal powers in order to exploit them. You might remember that. Fucking around with Islam, you're going to remember that. It's going to cause you to understand the Constitution deeper. It's going to cause you to be able to interpret the will of the Constitution closer to you and personalize it, because Sharia law emphasizes equity law, civics, human rights, fair dealing, equality, justice, freedom. There's no room for predatory practices in those who hold power when it comes to Sharia law. And that's a problem too. There cannot be vagueness. Come on, grown people should understand the language I'm saying here. Grown people who pay bills, grown people, okay, should understand all that I'm saying here. There's a reason they don't want you fucking with Muslims and Islam, and it don't have nothing to do with faith. It has nothing to do with religion or God or none of that. It's the liabilities that it causes them with the infrastructure that supports and sustains the practices of black magic, dark magic, and witchcraft. It interferes with that. It gets in the way because it enlightens you. It makes you a threat. Who's to say, okay, for example, you might look over Sharia law and there's some things that you want to put into the practice of your home or your community or whatever else, but there's some things that you say, nah, that's not for me, I'm just going to leave that there. Okay, perfectly fine. The point that I'm making is not that you should be a Muslim after listening to me. That's not my point here. That's not what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is what you're going to find is Sharia law and the Constitution of the Republic of America, your Constitution. You're going to come to realize that in it is Aquarius Pluto empowerment for the people. It's in that. That's the solution. You don't have to think it up. You don't have to sit back and brainstorm. It's already written. It's already with you. But because we are in dead status, because we have become so feeble-minded, because we don't fucking think no more, because we're fugitives from truth whenever truth should manifest, we want to attack the messenger. We want to get mad at who's ever speaking. We want to block, delete, unsubscribe, run the fuck away. Because we're intimidated by truth wherever it is. That's a dead corpse status. The true and living person investigates in order to seek understanding, and that is what Sagittarius and Scorpio Mercury retrograde transit at that cusp is all about. It's about getting to the truth and aligning with it so that you can set yourself free. The Constitution applies to the natural living person or man or woman. The Constitution does not necessarily protect or preserve the fictitious character. The fictitious character is on voluntary basis and it is completely consensual. This is what I've been trying to emphasize to you. And because it is consensual, in spirit there is no karma to what they do to you, because they obtain your consent. You volunteered to that Because you're not aware of who and what you really are, what your status is. You think it's the 14th Amendment fictional character. Let me throw this in there. I am not speaking on sovereign citizenship. That's not what I stand for. I don't promote that. I don't call to that. If that's what you do, good for you. But do not conflate me with that shit. Because I don't fuck with that shit. And I don't give a fuck who don't like it. Understand that. We have to get back to matriarchal identity. Cancer Jupiter is bigger, okay, than what a lot of astrologers, there's astrologers out there doing a great job, but it's bigger than what a lot of people out there is telling you, who always go back to the traditional, yeah, it's time to expand your emotional sensitivities and pour into your inner child and make sure you love on yourself and take care of yourself. Oh, okay, yada, yada, yada. We heard it all. We already heard everybody saying the same fucking thing. What's the truth out here? Huh? Jupiter, let's expand that motherfucker. How do you expand that? This is the expansion. I'll remind you of what the fuck it means. Fourth house, matriarchal, source from whence it comes, the true and natural living person. Sharia is complementary to the fourth house Cancer person. That is the status of every one of us in the fourth house of Cancer, or Cancer, the true and natural living person. Sharia law does not have a 14th Amendment fictitious character. It doesn't have an incorporated status to refer to. It only deals with the true and living natural person. This is a European concept initiated through France and the Vatican. This fictitious status. Understand that. And through Unum Sanctum, it became the global standard. Not so under Sharia law. Sharia law dispels the illusion of the fictitious person, and it walks you down a full and complete awareness of your rights and entitlements as the true and natural person according to Sharia law, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks to the true and natural living person, not a fictitious fucking character. The Constitution speaks to the true and living person, not the status of the fictitious character. The fictitious character is ward of state, and you do not have rights as a ward of state. You're dead. Civilis mortuus. You're dead. Do you fucking understand me? Some of y'all out there spend all your time and energy getting mad instead of trying to, take notes and start some better study habits for yourself and get down to the bottom of this. What you think Scorpio and Sagittarius is about? It's what you're supposed to be doing. I'm following instructions of this universe. It told me to study, get to the truth, get to the real. And it's telling you the same thing. But who's doing it and who's not doing it? And then after you answer that question, who's mad at who? Understand that. Sharia law is a threat to the gain, benefit, and leverage of the illusion of the fictitious status. And all of the rights and interpretation of law that they do not want you to have. Because Sharia law is to interpret the Constitution in context of the natural person. Because when you study that law, you are reminded of your inalienable rights that are surely secured through the Constitution. But as the fictitious person, it is not accessible to you. It is denied. Understand. Later on, when I can get some participation in fucking, you know what I mean, support up in here, you know what I mean, I could borrow and buy back some time from myself, and I can teach y'all one-on-one what the fuck is going on. But right now, you gotta study for yourself. You gotta know. Don't be a sitting duck. Don't you know Saturn is headed back to Aries? Huh? I'm warning y'all niggas before Saturn gets into Aries. That is surveillance state. I don't think y'all understand what I'm telling you. Why do they want you to fear Muslims? Why do they want you to fear Islam? What is it that they're hiding? Why? It's not about what they saying it's about. We wouldn't have listen, dysfunction makes money. Immorality makes money. The division of the family unit makes money. Divorce court makes hella money. Family court makes money. Confusion and drama between man and woman makes money. How do you guarantee confusion between man and woman? You take the clothes off the women in society and tell them they're free without educating them about who they are as women. That's how you guarantee dysfunction. You teach them and emphasize to them that they should remain single for as long as possible. Have fun, enjoy yourself, explore, ride bikes, bungee jump, get a job, get a career, go to college, or for this year and that year and that year and this year. Yeah. Don't ever. They did a good job on making you into who they really wanted you to be toward their advantage. And the dysfunction of feminism is a money-making machine. It keeps family court and divorce court doors swinging, and the money just gets siphoned from the man whose back labors, toils, and works. And then on to the next one. It's a well-oiled machine. Without the dysfunction, without the corruption between man and woman, they couldn't make money. This is also in the Holy Quran. In the Holy Quran, two angels came down called Harut and Marut. And Harut and Marut came to the Jews. And when Harut and Marut came to the Jews, Harut and Marut said, we are going to teach you this magic to sow difference between man and woman. It is a trial from you for Allah. So beware and be put on notice. And they did use it. The division of man and woman. It's a means of extracting money through dark magic, because dark magic is produced as a resulting consequence of the passionate and violent differences and arguments and fallouts that female and male has over their irresponsibility or lack of reverence to the womb or the act of sex. Understand? It's a money-making machine. So with Sharia law, it doesn't treat these problems. It prevents these problems. They can't make money off of any community or people who is in the practice of Islam or Sharia law. They can't make money off of them. They don't participate in usury. And that applies to how Muslims buy and sell cars, buy and sell houses and properties. Anything that goes into the second or eighth house, they cannot do so with interest and usury. Islam emphasizes marriage, and it shuns fornication,
adultery, and promiscuity. How many problems are created in society because of fornication, adultery, and promiscuity? Especially when there are no consequence but celebration for those who do part in it. How many problems does that create, and how much money does the state make off of promiscuous people of the community? Okay? Don't think too fast. Sit down and really reflect. Get a study partner. Ask somebody else the question. Get the conversations going. Fucking think. Think. I can't make money off of people who my black magic doesn't work on. If I can't get you to create problems that I will get you out of if you pay me, you're no good to me. Create problems that you're going to need me for so I could get paid. Not with Sharia law. They're not going to be able to create enough problems to pay lawyers to get them out of. Open your mind. Open your mind. I just want to get you to think again. Open your mind. Don't let these people insult you to your face. Like looking dead at you. I know you slow. I know you fucking dumb. I know you don't even know what I'm doing to you. They got a 15-inch fucking dick in your back, threw you across the table and asked you if you like it. And guess what? You said, yes, I like it. You want more. That's what they're doing. No Vaseline. And you're loving it. You're begging for more. Look at you. So, conclusively, when we do the due diligence of Cancer, Jupiter expansion, 4th house, our ancestral origins, our identities, demographics, the curses in that house, the blessings of that house, that is getting through the straw man reality into the natural, true and self reality, bowing out of the system, bowing out of their oppression, bowing out of expectations that you have of them to do for you or to take care of you. We are headed in the opposite direction to where we become the solution for ourselves. Aries, Neptune dissolving these falsehoods and illusions around who we really are. Okay, it all is consistent with this theme. So, the conclusive point I want to make is you don't have to brainstorm like you thought you did. You see, the Constitution, you could arrive at the same end, but the language of the Constitution and interpretation, it's not for the common person to understand its true essence. But I do know that when you study Sharia law, it doesn't speak in disguise. It doesn't speak with a forked tongue. It says everything plain and clear. And because we're not used to plain language, there are many things that we might take offense to because we thought that part was supposed to be muted. We thought that part was supposed to be silenced. It's just like me. Okay? I speak unfiltered. And even though it might have shock value, it might have you to turn the picture upside down and say, okay, he ain't making no sense. When you sleep on it, you get up in the morning, you're like, damn, I don't like what he said, but you know what? That actually did make sense, and I'm afraid to admit it. That's how Sharia law is. It's counterintuitive to your habit and pattern of protecting and guarding yourself against the sting of truth. And so, it's like this. You just started a business, right? And you have to make all your documentations up, okay? You could go on Microsoft and you could just start typing away and, all kind of digital apps to, do the graphics and things like that. That shit'd take you fucking months to come up with all the paperwork, right? Or, okay, you could work smart, not hard, and you could go online and you could look up, all of the formalities of the paperwork that you need and download it, or make use of the formats itself in your software, and you're already coasting on the road. That's how Sharia law is. Okay? Where we're headed with Aquarius Pluto is we're becoming tribes again. Okay? Tribalism. When you have tribes, you have to have leadership. Whenever Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, whenever there are 3 or more of you, always appoint a leader in order to mitigate confusion. Okay? So we're going to need leadership. We're going to need collective think tank ideas of how we're going to function together and how we're going to coexist and how we're also going to co-produce together, constructively, in a way that's is civil, fair, justice, transparent. Okay, that is in ways that are of the illumination of Scorpio and the illumination of Libra. Libra and Scorpio being one in this domain. So what I'm telling you is, you can borrow from the U.S. Constitution just as much as you could borrow from Sharia law, but Sharia law is more clarified and straightforward with what it's saying, suggesting, or protecting you from, or guiding you towards your humanity and civilized status. You can borrow from it and incorporate it into what you have going on as far as you working together with extended family members, different households, different persons, where judgment is going to be a part of any 8th house matter. Okay? What do you mean by judgment? The infamous astrologers. What I mean is, when you come together with people toward a common goal, you're in the 8th house. And when you're in the 8th house, trust issues are going to come up. Integrity is going to come up. Fair dealings is going to come up. Conversations about equality and justice, transparency is going to come up. Power struggles are going to come up. So there has to be a criterion of judgment to refer to, so that there's no bias in how we arrive at solutions and conclusions, with the differences that we have between us. So you could reference Sharia law to find what is the sensible basis for how justice should look like in a situation like this. You see what I'm saying? You could do the same with the Constitution, but the Constitution does not necessarily clarify in depth, okay, down to the format of the individual, so that you can find justice, fair dealing, equity, and transparency in all of your dealings. Okay? You can borrow from it. You also can borrow from Sharia law to find ways to come out of the system, to untie yourself from the system, to say goodbye to relying on and depending on the system. You can leave a world from where you stand. You don't have to be a part of that world. It's an option. And they want you to remain ignorant and fearful of what options you truly have. Understand? And it's even more scary when all of you come together as communities and incorporate these such laws and guidelines. Because now that community is protected from the predatory policies, practices, and legacies that entrapped us into that corporate status to our own detriment. Understand? So I'm explaining something that is not easy to explain, although I might make it sound easy. It's not easy to explain, just so y'all know, to go over these discourses and different things. I have to live a certain lifestyle to keep producing this way. Without the lifestyle, I can't do it. And the lifestyle has to include keeping my mind, my emotions, my spirit illuminated. Okay? And so, don't take these things for granted. Don't take it for granted. We got to think. What are the reasons? What are the reasons, really? Got to think.